Good. Well, welcome all. And good to be together. And yeah, we'll start today with, again, with a couple of teaching slides. I'll share my screen, and then Jochen and myself will share our experience and go through those in the first part of the meetup. And then after we can have shares and questions as we do. So I'll share my screen. And also we'll start with the introduction here. Just also some might be here for the first time. And also it's always nice to take a short moment while we are reflecting on open intelligence in our own experience. So what is open intelligence? When we stop thinking just for a moment, what remains? There's a alertness and clarity, openness, the power to know, spacious open intelligence, it's natural presence of open intelligence. And obviously, we cannot stop thinking. We all know that thoughts appear again, and the power in taking short moments is to recognize that the same open intelligence is equally present with thoughts and without thoughts, with emotions and without emotions, no matter what's going on. And being introduced to open intelligence is really being introduced to something about us that is indestructible and always present. Our thoughts and emotions always change, always might feel differently, or we might feel like we have the same thoughts and emotions again and again. Still, there's something that goes unnoticed when we don't really have the introduction to this intelligence, to this natural presence, because we have such a focus on the content of our mind, like the thoughts and emotions. Yeah, so then by relying on short moments of open intelligence becomes increasingly obvious. At the very moment data form, data being all the thoughts and emotions and sensations, anything we can describe. So at the moment data form, rely on powerful and spacious open intelligence. This is a short moment of open intelligence. So just as taking short moments, even if we don't really know what open intelligence is, or we really can't tell if we are really relying on open intelligence, we take short moments. That's the power of simply relying on open intelligence. It becomes increasingly obvious that open intelligence that we otherwise don't notice when our focus is so much on the describing our thoughts, what we're thinking, how are we feeling, why am I feeling this? So we can have all kinds of stories about what's going on in our thoughts and emotions, and overlook this natural essence, the indestructibility that is present as open intelligence. So it becomes increasingly obvious when we acknowledge it throughout our day, and these data vanish naturally, they self-release without any effort on our side, without needing to figure anything out, without needing to change them in any way. So increasingly, your power and energy become grounded in open intelligence rather than in data. Yeah, I really found that very powerful, just being introduced to open intelligence and seeing how much also power and energy goes into trying to rearrange my thoughts and emotions and sensations into better ones or into comfortable ones. And yeah, being grounded in open intelligence, in the power of open intelligence and the energy of open intelligence, which is inseparable from all these thoughts and emotions. They're all the dynamic energy of open intelligence. But then we are less distracted by going into all the content of our mind, what can be grounded in open intelligence, in the essence of everything. So that's the powerful shift in the use of our mind that we recognize when we are introduced to open intelligence. We spoke this yesterday also on the meetup of each of the four mainstays: empower open intelligence and its full range of beneficial power. The four mainstays are all, it's like an algorithm and part of evoking open intelligence. The short moments as the practice, meaning confirming open intelligence. Having all the media and texts that evoke open intelligence is another mainstay, and all the talks we can listen to. The trainer who has can share their experience and instructions to recognize open intelligence. And then a community, people who share their experience, which is also very inspiring to recognize, well, if that's possible for others, it's possible for myself. So, yeah, maybe you want to continue here.
Living data as it is can include extremely afflictive states. The four mainstays are the passageway through all affliction, whether past or present. It is powerful to rely on short moments, the instructions and support given to you by the trainer. Yeah, I love that we don't have to be in this, on our own. Definitely in my experience, there were, of course, short moments in everyday life is one thing, but then there are times for me, for example, with like the some internal things like what I always called like a low grade depression, an experience of that, and to rely on short moments within that state, you could say, or while that was active, was always really like tricky, and to even know whether I'm resting or not. And then that was additionally weighing on me. And so to have a teacher I could reach out to and be in touch with, to both get instructions, but also just to hear, to be in touch with somebody who always sees me as open intelligence. No matter what my stories might have been at the time, or might be today, who knows what will come up in the next moment. To have somebody who will always confirm that all is well, try this, do that, and always basically just in how they are with us confirms the natural great completion and perfection that is already here, rather than jumps on our train of panic or depression or anxiety or whatever it is that might be difficult. And then the training media and texts will reveal to you exactly the support you need at this particular moment. And the worldwide community will support and inspire you to live into the lifestyle of open intelligence and its beneficial potencies. Yeah, some people have who are in the empowerments today, or maybe you remember from when you did the empowerments. It's amazing, speaking about the texts here, how each empowerment basically addresses the questions that often arise at the end of the previous empowerment. It's really such a magical unfolding. And then I've read these texts hundreds of times now, and each time I read them, I still find wonderful nuggets and this direct evocation of open intelligence that always opens up more and more of that incredible gift that open intelligence has for us. And same with community, to just know that we're not isolated and on our own, but can hear from each other, inspire each other, and then like for those who can and want, come to the center to Sweden for a week and just meet, hang out with people, and see that there is like what that's like to be together when open intelligence is the basis of our relationship. You know, when because everything still comes up. We're working together at the center, we're running the center together, everybody does service, and of course, data arise, they don't go anywhere. But if everybody is relying on open intelligence, we can really also then see from that how a world where more and more people rely on open intelligence will naturally, just by the power of everybody's practice, will be such a different place, such a different environment to live in. Open intelligence is something about us that is always stable and clear. Yeah, I always love that. And, maybe you also can relate, but I think many of us have had glimpses or a sense of that, that there is something like a core somewhere, but I didn't know how to access, like what that was, how to access it, or yeah, how to have it, you could say, an experience of it rather than just like a kind of like a belief in it. And then the introduction to open intelligence, once we see it for the first time, we cannot forget that. We might forget it temporarily in a storm of data, or when we just simply forget for that moment, but we can never undo that moment of introduction. When we identify our peaceful nature, then no matter what happens, whether there are prosperous times or times of great economic collapse and depression, we have our unchanging peaceful nature. No matter what happens, we have our unchanging, indestructible nature. So it's that indestructible essence that is always stable and clear and that we can always return to, like this the crystal ball metaphor so beautifully illustrates. No matter what the appearances are in the crystal ball's sphere itself never changes. So it's not that there are no differences between the images, they are different. So it feels different to be depressed or to be happy, but both of these are appearances within the crystal ball like nature of mind, which is the true stability that we've been looking for, that can never be found if we only try and manage the images in the crystal ball.
And short moments are repeated many times. The recognition of open intelligence becomes automatic. It becomes stable in itself. Any act of forcing open intelligence is involvement with data, including trying to get into a non-conceptual state or into any kind of state of bliss or happiness or anything. So that's why the short moments and very brief moments are repeated until they definitely become automatic. They become stable in itself, instinctive. And that's why when we see ourselves effort to get into open intelligence, into it being a certain way, then we see that we are involving ourselves with data, with maybe certain emotions, certain feelings of a state, or if anything that should feel good or should feel open intelligence like. So recognizing that there are data as well, even profound experiences, which are all perfect as they are, and also can support gaining confidence in open intelligence. Still, when we hold on to anything, then we overlook the potency of open intelligence, the aliveness, the dynamic energy is responsive to whatever is needed. And so it isn't put into any kind of description, even though we can share about it. We're not looking then for that particular expression. So and especially sometimes it's like when we want, for me it was like trying to meditate. Yeah, it could be also medicate or anything that we try to to get away from something, um, have a non-conceptual state, have just a spacious experience. So it was a lot of effort, even though I always enjoyed it. And now I enjoy sitting, just naturally taking short moments, which is just powerful as it is. Yet all these is not necessary. The short moments can be done in any circumstances of daily life. So, but we don't have to effort to get anywhere. We just take these short moments of open intelligence, letting all data be as they are. And those who are going through the empowerment, that letting all data be as they are, that is deepened in the it takes some time because sometimes it doesn't feel easy to let everything be as it is, as open intelligence, as dynamic energy. Maybe theoretically it would be perfect, but how does that really, how can we see that in our own direct experience? But then we just take short moments. We often say the quantity is all that we need to care about, not the quality of a short moment. Then if the recognition of open intelligence slips away, we just repeat it again, sometimes without knowing if we're doing it right or not. Okay, we'll have one more here and then. Yeah, this simple approach is to maintain open intelligence in all situations without needing to focus on any circumstance in particular, or to correct mental events. Yeah. So it's maintaining open intelligence, or these short moments, making open intelligence obvious without needing to change anything that is occurring in our mind, or no matter where we are. And so we maintain open intelligence while allowing all perceptions, data to be completely unrestrained, unrestricted, and unchanged. We don't try to neutralize anything in any way. We let the full force of thoughts, emotions, and experiences have free rein while relying on their underlying essence. So that is like facing everything fully, but that is also a step-by-step gaining confidence in open intelligence, because sometimes thoughts and emotions feel threatening, feel scary. We don't feel we can let them be as they are. So that's why when we talk about the four mainstays, having the support to actually really face everything that feels very uncomfortable. And the more we take these short moments and have that recognize this indestructible essence, it becomes easier to allow also difficult challenges to be as they are. So it is like you said, something training a muscle. It becomes more stable in itself and indestructible. Yeah, so we don't need a special kind of hiding place in which to put thoughts and emotions. We face everything and relax as open intelligence. So that becomes more and more a direct experience, that there's a fearlessness of in the midst of fear. It's inseparable. And that is that's very powerful to know that we feel this the safety of open intelligence, the love of open intelligence, and also deep understanding and compassion, understanding what it feels like to feel everything deeply. It really connects us with other human beings in a way that I couldn't connect before, when I'm trying to get away from everything that feels scary or challenging and suffering. Okay, maybe we'll pause here for today, and then we can have questions and also shares. Thank you. Let's see if,
I have a question.
yes, Laurie, hello.
Morning. Um, in the phrase beneficial potency, like Joachim, you gave the example of the low-grade depression arising. Could you explain how the beneficial potency appear in that example, what that appears as, or how that is?
Mm. Yeah, there is. That's a good one. If we can't really figure out, like empowerment too also speaks to the beneficial nature of open intelligence, including all data, which always is like, how can negative data be beneficial? That doesn't like compute, right? Like both in the world, like how can war be beneficial, but also how can depression be beneficial? And I've really tried hard, and it's impossible to understand that intellectually, but even if we could, it wouldn't help. So if we bring it, however, to our direct experience, and I want to share both like the beginnings and also then how that unfolded for me. In the direct experience initially, the beneficial potency is in that short moment of open intelligence where we find relief. It then feels more like the benefit is in the depression lifting a little bit. It's not so much like in the depression. It's in the effect of, so to speak, having that direct experience of open intelligence and the depression or I also want to be clear that I haven't been like clinically depressed. It was just like this more bleak, dark, low kind of feeling. So um but anyway, so with that, in a short moment, you could say the weight of that was lifted a little bit. It wasn't like it was gone completely, but there was more ease. I like that expression, like the ease of being was there, even though the perception was still of that like heaviness, subdued kind of feeling state in my body, you could say, that I don't really like. Like I like the state of my body after the right dose of espresso. That's like the kind of feeling that I like. In me, I don't like that low grade kind of stuff. But to find that freedom within that, and then also to recognize that if I don't sit on a rock, I was in India at the time, and my temptation would have been to sit on a rock and rest myself out of that state. If instead of trying to do that, I just continue on with life, taking short moments whenever I remember. Often at the end of the day, I hardly even remember that I had that thought of, oh, today was a really depressing day. It's just like it's another thought, another experience that comes and goes. And often it is like these days, I still have periods now that are mellow, as I would call them today. They just feel mellow. And then I don't push myself. I don't, if I have lots of stuff planned, I see what do I really need to do, and can I just give myself an easy day? And so that beneficial power of open intelligence is that warmth, that compassion towards myself, not expecting myself to be different, not feeling any longer that I'm a failure because I experienced this. I don't need to go back and work on my childhood. I can just like flow through my day. I might have thoughts about my childhood. I might have thoughts about myself, but they also self-release in that power of open intelligence. So that's the entry point to really experience, rather than understand, to experience directly the beneficial potency of open intelligence. With that also then opened up for me so much warmth and compassion towards myself. Like I saw how much I put myself through with all the expectations I've put onto myself of how I should be, how I should behave in the world, how I should be in relationships. And as that more and more lifted in this like newfound relationship to me and the depression, so to speak, also so much compassion and warmth opened up for other people. So it's in facing everything that I face in my own experience fully and openly that then also opens up a lot more understanding and compassion for other people. And so it's this like it's not always that we then suddenly feel this thing that we called negative is suddenly turning positive or something, or that the experience changes. It's more that in the flow of practice, often in hindsight for me, I began to see, oh wow, I don't think I would experience the world today in this way had I not gone through this afflictive state with the openness and the understanding of open intelligence. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Like to
that's
some extent.
beautiful. So it's the direct experience of this is the intellectual, the direct experience of the ease of rest.
Yes.
Yes.
Amidst the affliction, while that continues to find rest in the
Yeah.
nature of mind. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else today to share with a question? Tina, yeah.
Yeah, I like during the text that it talked about relying on it as well, and because I relax into it, but I feel like that's a juicy word to use in terms of maybe because I maybe jump into it and then kind of hop out of it again, I think a lot. So maybe could you just kind of focus on that for a moment?
Kathy, do you want to go there?
Yes, of course. So the relying on open intelligence, but I think empowerment. I also refer to the empowerments. Empowerment 3 is with the question, what is ultimately reliable? So getting to know this open intelligence as something that we can rely on, that we can choose, and that it's always present, it's ultimately reliable. What is not reliable is our ever-changing, we don't know how we will wake up. Will we have good thoughts or will we feel anxious, nervous, or who knows also what happens during the day. So these kind of data, feelings, and moods are very unpredictable and ever changing. So it is getting to know something that is ultimately reliable. And then you will see many instructs, like the text speaks about we rely. That's what we rely on. We rely on the essence of everything, open intelligence, on what's looking right now. It's always looking, it's always present. So we recognize that, and then we gain trust that that is so. Because initially we can't totally find the confidence that we can actually rely on open intelligence because it's so subtle, or it's not really, it slips away because we have prioritized data as a focus, trying to juggle them, right? Rearrange, try to fix ourselves. So it's like this kind of what is ultimately reliable, and finding confidence and trust that we can actually rely on it. And so we rely on open intelligence rather than data. We rely on open intelligence because that's where we find the potency, the openness, the power to love, to respond, to and love can be direct and clear as well. It can be, so it has this energy that we don't suppress, because when we neutralize our emotions or just make them good, there's lots of energy and potency that gets suppressed basically, or not used to be responding to whatever is needed, right? When we're angry, for example, we think, oh, we shouldn't be angry. Okay, it needs to go away. We either blame the other person, and that's how we use our energy, or we blame ourselves. And in letting data be as they are, we rely on open intelligence rather than on data to fix a situation. Well, to respond to a situation, to maybe find solutions. or to let it be as it is, as we can see many things, many comments, many don't need our doing at all. But there, as you can see then, when going further through the empowerments 8 and 9 have very much to do with action and what is of benefit to all, including ourselves, obviously. So it's never a passive state.
Yeah, I've been grappling with, my friend comes and stays with me every weekend in the summer, and last weekend I got really annoyed with her, and so I've been taking lots of moments, but it's still coming back that I'm frustrated and don't really want her to come and stay with me anymore, or at least next weekend, but then feeling guilty. And so,
Yeah. Which empowerment are you on right now?
4.
Again, 4? Okay. Oh yeah, perfect. You can take that situation because 4, if you have you started it to the list already?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, great. And so, oh, that's perfect. So you can put it all there.
Yeah, I have.
You have, great. And it doesn't, yeah, it's clear. It's because empowerments 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 will support the
Yeah,
uh, for now, it's a good practice situation. Yeah, that might feel very frustrating, but that's where you can take short moments and give yourself also a space.
yeah,
Like you can take care of yourself also and say, okay, well, maybe I'll have to take a walk now and listen to some talks myself and these kinds of things, or just be be kind to yourself there too, in terms of short moments. And
yeah. I think
mhm.
when I take short moments too, though, I find that there's a feeling that comes across me, but then I'm not supposed to rely on that feeling. But then, you know what I mean? Like, so I have a feeling or a knowing, but then I think I get a bit confused because then I'm like, okay, well, I look for that, right? And then I'm not supposed to look for that.
Well, actually, yes, that is what well, you have a feeling and knowing maybe what to do. Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying? Yeah.
Well, no, not what to do, but just a sensation maybe that I'm aware and
Yeah.
present.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah, but if you're not supposed to rely on it or know that that's, I don't know, it gets, maybe I'm getting
Right.
too nuanced in it. I don't know, but
Right. If you shouldn't be holding on to it, are you saying?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I suppose.
As something, as being something. Yeah. But no, that's okay. You can yeah, I understand that kind of struggle. Oh, I shouldn't be actually focusing on that, but it's perfect. Yeah, just take short moments, and the knowing, this natural presence. You might be able to describe that. You, yeah, when
As
you're
soon as you
looking
describe
for
it,
it,
you're in duality, right?
say that again.
I said, as soon as you describe it, though, you're in duality.
Well, you never are in duality, or you always are, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
You know, that's fine. No, you can describe it. It's actually helpful sometimes to confirm, yeah, I'm recognizing the natural presence of open intelligence. Now, say you don't feel it.
Mhm.
Then when you try to feel it again and try to look for it, then you're efforting, and
Yeah.
that's too much. Then just take short moments without there being that kind of knowing and sense. That's
Mhm.
all.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can just confirm, yeah, you're recognizing open intelligence, and you can describe it in the moment.
Okay.
There is nothing, you're not making it into something unless you are. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it's easeful in that way.
Thank you.
Sometimes very helpful even to say, wow, I'm actually experiencing the ease of being. And then there will be other times where we feel we can't say ease of being. It's deep, unbearable suffering, and we feel everything as it is. And then there is maybe ease of being, but or not, So yeah, great. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Mhm. Anyone else? Yes.
Can I come in with something just really short?
Your experience? Yes.
Yeah. You know, when you're resting, when I'm resting, you know what I've noticed? When I'm home alone, yeah,
Mm.
I can rest now fairly easy. Yeah. Certain people push me buttons. And what I've noticed is I've been spending a lot of time with my father lately, and he's getting on, like really getting on, like 81. And he's very set in his ways. And he's very, how can I put it? Like when he's telling a story, he's very serious, he's very intense, he's telling a story and he's swearing and he's like this, and it's like I can feel it in my chest. I can feel the tension and the anxiety coming off him. But what I've noticed is when he's speaking and I rest, I just rest. There's sound there. There's just sound. It's like it's not my dad that's actually speaking. There's just sound appearing in the space. So it's not got that kind of pull on me anymore. It's not got that sort of like where it's pulling me in,
Mm-hmm.
where the story that he's telling has a feeling that's resonating from the story. And I would be feeling it in my chest. I'd be there with him. I'd be feeling the anxiety and the stress. And I'd be like, oh, for God's sake, when's he going to stop? When's he going to shut up? You know, like my mind would be going. But when he's speaking now and I just rest,
Mm-hmm.
such a lightness to it. It's just no longer serious anymore. It's like it's so light, it becomes playful. It's like you just don't take the story serious because you realize that the story is just a sound appearing, and the story is what the mind is saying about this sound and about this feeling in the chest. But the more that you just rest, even in the real world with people like your dad, who is like at times he's crazy. And it's like when you just rest, like today, I went and bought him a car, and he's asking a million questions about the car and is this okay with it and is that okay with it. But while he's asking me, I was just resting. I was just going, I was just moving in a millionth of a second the attention away from my thoughts and what it means and what he's saying and how we're buying this car and all that like narrative and story and all the feeling to just resting in a billionth of a second. I just rested, and it was like it just went from being a character within the movie to the screen, and there was such a lightness, such a peace. It was like it was funny. You couldn't take it serious even if you tried. You could
Mm.
not take it serious because there's nothing to take serious. It's just a sound appearing.
That's
And you
wonderful.
realize it's
Mm.
all open intelligence. Even me dad, the sound, the sounds of his voice, even his body is an appearance, a vibration, a movement within the space. Once you become the space, you no longer take it seriously anymore. Well, that's what I've been found in anyway. And listen,
Yes.
there's nobody more intense than me dad, believe me. He would pull me in fast, and it was like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I noticed the last like 3 or 4 days because I've been spending a lot of time with him. And
Yeah.
normally I would leave the experience of being with me dad, whether it be for 1 hour or whether it be for 4 hours or whatever, and I would be drained. I would be physically, I could feel it in my chest. I felt tight. I wanted to get away from him. It was just exhausting. And I've noticed the last few days, we went to feed the ducks. So we went and bought some food, some rice, and we went and fed the ducks and the swans, and we're walking around. And normally that should be beautiful, but that would stress me out because he'd be moaning about the ducks are eating the food too fast and all this, and it'd just be stressful. Whereas whatever the body was, whatever was appearing in the space of me, when I became the space which I can do now, whatever was appearing had such a lightness to it. It was no longer life or death. Like my dad's a pain and I've got to get away, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It was just realizing that
Yeah.
he was just a pattern of energy, and that was what was showing up in that moment. It couldn't be any other way. And when I rested, there was a knowing. There was a knowing, and it was no longer serious. It was no longer stressful. It was quite light. It didn't have that same sort of life or death sort of, I got to get away from this experience, like sort of thing. There was just a knowing that no matter what shows up, it's just what is showing up in the
Mm.
moment. So, yeah, so the point I'm making is within 4 months of not being able to rest, oh no, I can't rest. I should be resting. What is rest and what am I doing right? Am I doing it right? Even if you just pretend that you're resting, you can't not be resting. So just pretend that you're resting and you will be resting. So I was resting, and what I realized was there was such a lightness to it, and it was just beautiful. And I was just like, my dad was no longer a threat. He's my dad. I love him. Even though his thinking and the way he relates with the world is very intense and it's very serious and it's very it's got to be a certain way, it's my way, or there was just a realization that his way of being with the world is a conditioned pattern of thinking, and he couldn't be any other way.
Mm.
And when you realize that, you no longer try to change him, and you realize that whatever he's saying and whatever feelings are coming up are just what is showing up, and you no longer take them seriously. The way to do that is by resting in the real world. So what I do is when I wake up, I just rest with nothing on for about 15 minutes. I just sit and I just rest,
Mhm.
and I just let everything in my living room just become one. There's no longer labeling. There's no longer a table, a television, a speaker, a settee. It's all just slowly becomes one again. And then I try to take that through the day with me. And then I keep on returning to resting, to resting, to resting.
Yeah.
And what you
You
realize
you can
is
also see that it's instinctive. Mhm.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
yes,
It's
yes.
happening by
It
itself.
just happens by itself. You don't even actually need anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, thank you for sharing. That's very
Please.
powerful. Yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
I'll speak maybe generally about the 12 empowerments because you've done the 12 empowerments, and then going through them, it's really about like being able to be in all relationships, and especially relationships that are challenging. We can see the benefits of the power of rest, the power of open intelligence in those relationships, like in everyday life, examples like that. So it's great,
Yeah,
great to hear. Well, thank you for sharing that.
you're welcome.
Mm, great, yes. And let's see if we have other questions or shares, how it is going. Yes, Holly.
I would love to just, the question that popped up actually relates to Mark and Tina. At what point do you discern that there's a particular relationship you just don't want to engage with? Because resting and then no, I don't know if this plays into what Tina was experiencing, but it's what I thought about when she was sharing is I'll use a personal example
Mm.
because it's the best, right? Okay, so I have a tendency to avoid social interactions, and when I commit to things, I tend to go through a replay when before the commitment actually comes to fruition, where I have to show up, or if I need to RSVP for something. There's this grappling of avoidance. I mean, it's as blatant avoidance as you could name. It's textbook. I don't want to text them. I feel resentful that they've invited me and I just want to stay home by myself. I mean, I just have all this like loner data going on um and so I experienced that yesterday. I had a really interesting experience where I had to get back to somebody about a commitment that was going to happen the next day. And I was doing the same old running the data of resentment and, oh, I hate this and what's wrong with me and why do I always want to be alone? Well, I don't want to be with them. I'm not like them. You know, it was just the same old stuff. So I rested and continued to take short moments and then just kind of forgot about it and kept putting it off and saying, oh, I'll call her later. I'll call her later. And then I would rest. And then all of a sudden, boom, I'm gonna call her. I'm gonna go. You know, it was just complete, like no feeling, no resistance. So,
Well,
like,
that's great. That's already,
yeah,
that's perfect.
it was really interesting. And then we had a great conversation, and I found out her husband was in the hospital with pneumonia. I mean, it was like all this avoidance is, pretty interesting. So I guess then when you come back to kind of what Tina and Mark were talking about, at what point do you just get to discern and say, I really just don't enjoy being with that person? I guess, can you speak to that a little bit? That would be great.
Yes, and you've just finished Empowerment 9, right? That's great to see because that's exactly the theme of Empowerment 9, where you first of all see your all avoidance. Exactly how am I avoiding? Not only physically people in our mind or with justifications, to exactly see that's how I'm avoiding open intelligence. I'm avoiding the people, but I'm ultimately avoiding open intelligence in this moment with the feelings. Mm. Okay, that's and so while you are avoiding, it's like I'm putting off calling someone I don't want to, and I justify it because we don't have anything in common, things like that. Rest. Take short moments and recognize all these in Empowerment 8, it's just these active avoidances in a very specific way. Just recognizing these gives a reminder to take a short moment. That's all. Maybe we cannot discern in this moment yet whether we will go or not go, or because there's no rule book to this. Nobody can tell you when to discern. This is very personal, circumstantial, and a wisdom that evolves within each one. Nobody can tell that to another. It is simply your own wisdom that is evolving your own confidence in knowing and seeing in open intelligence to discern whether this is, and this happens in an instinctive way, like it did for you. It might not happen always in the moment we want it to happen, but there's more and more trust that it does, that you just know. You don't even have to explain why you don't see somebody or don't want to, but you know yourself, right? And in this case, you just knew you needed to go, even though you had the entire package of data. They might fall away, these data, or they might never.
Oh gosh, no.
Yeah, I'm saying it because the data, they have no threat. They are the dynamic energy of openness and, love and compassion. They might be forever. Some data disappear forever, some don't, but it doesn't really matter in the end when we know what is ultimately reliable, right?
That's interesting. Yes, what Jochen was sharing about that sort of low grade feeling of just I can relate. And I used to have that just about every morning. I'd wake up and have this feeling of like this weird, just where is this feeling coming from? And so I rested with that the other moment, and I was like last week, I just really rested and allowed that feeling, just rested in it. And I haven't had that feeling since. I'm not saying it's not going to come back, but yeah, I can see where, some things you just need to allow yourself to rest in it, right? Just rest in it. Like we're always running from it, right? Like you said, like it's threatening, and that's really empowering. So, yeah, thank you.
Great. Thank you for sharing. And Racheli, is that correct to say your name like that? What, Racheli?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. How are you doing? It's nice to see you.
Yeah, really nice to be here. Thank you.
How are the short moments for you at the moment?
Good. Always nice being here. It's a good reminder to,
Yeah, nice to see you.
thank you so much.
Yeah. Did you have any questions? Or let us know if, just listening.
Questions right now.
Yes,
Thank you.
perfect. Yes, and let's see. Who else? Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll just share something about my experience.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, yeah, one of the experiences that I've had on like relying on like open intelligence was like, I'll just be like chilling by myself, and then like I'll just get like a random thought that just like takes like all my attention, like, and then I realize or like the thought is there, and then like I guess like sort of like instinctively more now and like I just like let it be like when the thought appears, and then like as I let it be, like it just like disappears on its own, and then there's just like what's left, and then which is just like I guess just like spaciousness and just yeah, just like not being trapped in the thought that comes, and then yeah, just seeing the appearing and disappearing, and then yeah, that's like helped my like confidence and like being able to like rely on open intelligence when like thoughts and data and stuff like that come up. And yeah, I feel like any data that comes up now, like I can just like let it be as it is, and then just be confident in like not getting like wrapped up like, in the data and yeah, shit like that.
That's great. Great. Thank you for sharing. Great. That's powerful. Great. And Jean, how is it going for you?
I well, I'll start out by saying everyone's shares were just so I could just relate so fully to each and every person who shared. And I just appreciate them so much for their honesty and coming out and sharing. And it was just occurring to me how it's such a simple, small thing to allow an unpleasant or painful negative data, and how my entire life I have been resisting and pushing away and going to great lengths and using all kinds of methods to avoid anything that I found painful or unpleasant. And I think that pushing it all down, my whole life, pushing it all down is why when I would wake up in the morning, there would be this horrible heaviness, an inability to see life as an opportunity or a joy or any. I mean, I couldn't stand it when people talked about life that way. I just hated it because I wasn't experiencing that. But I see now what a simple thing it is, really, and a simple answer to just allow it. And I'm so sorry. The young man who just spoke. So you just said it so perfectly, your experience about how you let it be and it went away on its own. And it's such a simple thing. And here I spent all this time and energy pushing stuff away, and it caused so much pain. I mean, it just doubled, tripled, quadrupled the suffering to resist it. But by resting and just allowing it to be there and not trying to manipulate it or change it, it's amazing how it does disappear on its own. Not that it doesn't come back, but the more I'm finding, the more I practice taking these moments, the less power this negative data has in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's great. Yes. That's wonderful.
it's such a simple, small thing, but wow, it's so effective. Its effectiveness is such a simple, small thing, and it can be so effective.
Yeah.
Not that it's easy. It's not
not always easy.
it's
Yes,
not
it's
easy,
really
but
true.
it's a simple formula, and
Simple. Yeah.
I'm really appreciating it because I'm really seeing effects in my life.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing. Mm-hmm. Great. Great. Good. Thank you all. It was really nice to hear from you and be here together today. So we have tomorrow at 3. Debbie, yes?
Yeah, just a real quick comment.
Yeah.
About the allowing.
Yes.
For years, my spiritual practices and everything else said, allow, just allow, just allow. Without short moments, it's hell to allow.
Yeah, I
So
understand.
short moments makes all the difference
Yeah,
in really being able to allow. Otherwise,
it's scary.
You're trying to allow instead of really allowing.
Yes.
So that's all I wanted to say. Just until short moments, allowing was hard.
It was hard. Yeah, because we didn't know what we are actually allowing, right? Allowing the craziest,
Yeah, well,
difficult
it
things.
was a doing instead of an allowing.
Yeah.
If you don't know about short moments.
Yes.
Oh, you are so right with that. And the idea of allowing with the open intelligence and these things that you're allowing being open intelligence itself is also what made the total difference for me, a very strong difference for me, that it didn't have an independent power of its own. It wasn't like some big dark monster. It was unpleasant, these things continue to be unpleasant, but they are part and parcel of the ground being, the awareness itself. It makes it absolutely more doable. Absolutely. It makes short moments and open intelligence, having that knowledge makes it more doable.
Makes it more doable. It's so true. Very good. Well, thank you all. And great. See you all next week, or we have tomorrow at 3 p.m. PT. Have another meetup. See you there or next week again. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. So nice to see you.
Thank
you.
Bye.
Bye.